What's good with you guys? Today we're going to be talking about why fasting and praying is important. Now we got a story. It's out the book of Ezra. So, Ezra, at the book of Ezra, and it starts off through chapter 7 to 8, right? Ezra basically gets from this
King Artaxerxes.
Say it. Basically, he gets a letter from the king that
He needs to go to Jerusalem, to the temple of God, to sacrifice. King Artaxerxes. King Artaxerxes.
He's the king of Persia at the time, Bishalem, Mithrath, and Tabil, right? So he is the king, right? And so basically he tells him to go
Ezra to go back to the temple of God in Jerusalem and make sacrifices.
Right? So basically what I'm going to get to is a scripture on why praying and fasting is so important. So Ezra chapter 8 verse 23, Ezra chapter 8 verse 23. So we fasted and petitioned our God about this, and he answered our prayer. Petition, a request or something, a request for something, right? A request for something. So basically they requested for something. Now I'm going to take you back to verse 22, right? I was ashamed to ask the king for soldiers and horsemen to protect us from enemies on the road, because we had told the king the gracious hand of our God is on everyone who looks to him, but his great anger is against all who forsake him. So we fasted and petitioned our God about this, and he answered our prayer. That was 22, and then this is 23, right? So basically they told King Artaxerxes that their God is on them and that they don't need anything, right? And so he prayed and fasted to the Lord. And back to chapter 8, verse 23, Ezra. So we fasted and petitioned our God about this, and he answered our prayer. So petition, like I said, request our God, prayer basically, our God about this, and he answered our prayer, right? So they told the king that they don't need any guards or anything because their God has their hands on them. So basically, they fasted and prayed about it, and the Lord answered their prayer. That's why one reason that praying and fasting is so important. Because when you fast, you're getting closer to God. And when you pray, you make a request to God. And by you fasting, you're coming closer to God and being humble and denying your flesh. And he sees that, and then you're praying with it too. So it's a strong combo. That's the reason, one reason why praying and fasting is so essential as in your walk with Christ. And that's what helped Ezra be protected while walking on this journey back to Jerusalem. Going on this journey back to Jerusalem. He didn't ask for any guards or anything. He prayed to God about it, right? So we have another verse. Isaiah chapter 58 verse 6. Is not this the fast that I choose, to loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the straps of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke? Yoke meaning connection. So let's read it again. Isaiah chapter 58 verse 6. Is not this the fast that I choose, to loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the straps of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke? And yoke is connection. So fasting loose bonds of the wickedness and undoes the straps of the yoke, and then lets the oppressed go free. Fasting breaks bondages. That's why it's so important why you gotta fast. You got to fast. You gotta fast. And you know, it's funny how before my walk with Christ, I only knew fasting in terms of was like people who are Muslim what the Quran would do. And it's crazy how the Quran and all that was made after 600 years after the Bible, right? It was made after the Bible, let's just say that. And fasting has always been a thing that the Bible first introduced. That was fasting is from there. So the fact that was so glorified from that and not in the Bible is so crazy. But fasting is so important in our walk with Christ, because fasting allows us to break out of bondages and be free from wicked yokes, and allows us to get closer to God. And it allows us to get closer to God. Because there's a lot of times, even with me today, like I was attacked spiritually in my dream. And now I'm fasting because I was feeling the spiritual warfare, the torment, and all these things that comes behind being attacked. in the mental space from being attacked. And now that I'm fasting, I feel free. I feel broken from that bondage. I feel free because it was a bondage. And see, when you have spiritual dreams, warfare dreams, like sex dreams, dreams that is fighting, violence, people trying to kill you, all types of dreams that are not of God, use your discernment, pray and fast right after. So you got to get up, pray, either when next time you get up, and then fast that same day, at least for a day. Get that out of there. Because if you let it build up and build up, it's going to torment you. And now you're going to believe the lies of the enemy. Because the enemy is wicked. He wants to kill, steal, and destroy. So you got to pray and fast. Now, another verse. Joel chapter 2, verse 12. Yet even now, declares the Lord, return to me with all your heart, with fasting, with weeping, and with mourning. Joel chapter 2, verse 12. Yet even now, declares the Lord, return to me with all your heart. No, with all your heart, with fasting, with weeping, and with mourning. Return to the Lord with all your heart. And by doing that, he says with fasting, with weeping, with mourning. So returning to the Lord, you fasting and you breaking your flesh, you denying your flesh and denying yourself, is you getting closer to the Lord. And being more in your spirit than your flesh. So that's why it's so important for you to fast. And people think, oh, fasting only this religion is this religion. No, fasting is made from biblical. Yes, fasting is so important. You're called to fast. I'm starting to fast ever since I've been on this walk with Christ. I've been seeming like I've been fasting at least once a week. Once a week I'll be fasting. Or if I'm doing like a 2-day fast or a 3-day fast, I'm intermediate fasting at least almost every day. Sometimes I been getting a little rocky off of it, but I'm back on it, right? Today was my first day with the fast, but we have to continue to fast because this fight that we're enduring to the end, and the enemy is ruthless and does not care about you, does not love you, does not care about your mind, doesn't care about your mental, and God only does. So you have to continue to fast, continue to pray, and get closer to God. Now another one, Matthew chapter 7, verse 7, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be open to you. Ask. How do you ask for something from God? You pray, right? Pray, ask, and it will be given to you. Seek. You have to seek God. When you seek God, praying, staying in his word, fasting, and you will find. Knock, and it will be open to you. So you have to continue to pray and fast. Pray every single day, daily prayer, fasting once a week, and really staying on that grind. You have to fast at least once a month. You gotta fast. You're called to fast. As a Christian, you can't stop it. Because I'm telling you, when you start walking with Christ, if you haven't already, or if you're walking with Christ, those spiritual warfare battles are real. The spiritual war is real. And the enemy does not care and it's ruthless. So you have to continue to put the armor of God on, have the breastplate of righteousness. And I can drop that part. I'm gonna drop that part down. That scripture that talks about the armor of God in here, right here. So Ryan, yes, do that. Drop that in there. But we have to continue to fast and continue to pray and continue to walk and endure this long battle, because it's a battle that we can't see, but we know is real and we can feel. So we have to really stay in our word, really pray, really fast, and really endure, because it's a battle until Christ comes back, until the end. So with that being said, you guys, I appreciate you guys for allowing me to just liking up, subscribing, watch these videos, y'all. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. I love you guys. Peace. And